Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 cards in Paldea Evolved. This is just my opinion, so let's get started. Firstly, in number 10 is the Paldean Tauros illustration rare. So this is a really awesome card. When it first came out, the set Paldea Evolved, this is one of those cards that really caught my eye. It was towards the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, and we were really just getting an idea for what these illustration rare cards could look like. And yeah, this is one that I really loved, as these Tauros just fly across the savannah. I love the perspective of this card as well, how it's kind of tilted, and then you have the sun framing the main Tauros in the middle as it leaps high into the air. This is a card that's in that 10 to 15 pound-dollar range. So yeah, let's move on to number 9. So number 9, we have this really clean Sudowoodo card. It's just kind of chilling there on the road. This card does really well is it has the road, the leading line, going into the background, and you've got pretty iconic Pokemon just standing there masquerading as a tree. I think it's got a lot of personality. It's a little bit funny in a way, but also a beautiful card. Now moving into number 8, I've gone with the Farigiraf. The art style of this card really makes it stand out. I love the kind of hand-drawn element of the clouds, and one of the devices that this card uses that I think is really strong is this kind of rule of thirds idea, where you have the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. And in the foreground, you have obviously the grass at the bottom of the card, but you also have this Farigiraf poking its head right in the top that's got a lot more detail in it than the rest of the background. This makes for a really beautiful card. There are so many illustration rares in the Paldea Evolved set. Some of these are lesser talked about Pokemon that have gotten a really amazing illustration rare. These kind of fly under the radar a little bit. For number 7, I've gone with the Miss Magius card. So this is, I believe, the Pokemon's from the Diamond and Pearl era. It's a final evolution from the Shuppet line. This is one of those Pokemon that they really created a really iconic design for that final evolution, one that I really appreciate. This card is probably, it's got to be the best Miss Magius card out there. With the colouring, with the framing, I think it's just gorgeous. For number 6, I've gone with this Marill card. It's just really clean, and I really like the way that the Marill's kind of between outside the water and inside the water as the wave bobbles. The only thing that I don't like too much about it is that Bruxish fish in the bottom, because I think that it's kind of a slightly goofy design. I don't necessarily hate it, but yeah, it kind of works with the card anyway, and I really like the love disc in that kind of circular form under the Marill. Yeah, I think it's a really beautiful card. So moving on to number 5, I've gone with the Heracross. This card is a good £10 less than the previous Marill card, and I think it's got so much more going for it. I think it's got a more unique art style. It's almost like a digital painting art style, which is very kind of unique. And again, it's got this leading line that I really enjoy with the road. And yeah, a really awesome Pokemon as well in Heracross. So I really enjoy this card, and I think it's actually a bit of a steal at £18. So now we're going to be moving on to number 4. I've got this Iono card. So yeah, I'm not usually a massive fan of the supporter cards from a collecting standpoint, but this one, it's just a special card, isn't it? It's just an iconic looking card. The composition of the card really makes it stand out from other special illustration supporter cards. There are some little things in there for collectors, like the Pikachu on the pancake, the little Eevee, whatever that is, like a boba tea or something. And then, yeah, the Rotom. And this part is what gets me about this card, is I really love this blurred Rotom phone, or Dex or whatever it is, like flying out of the card. I think it's just so cool, and the way it like crosses the border. Yeah, it's just an iconic card. So number 3, I've gone with Tyranitar. It's just majestic. Like there's no other way to really put it. As a massive fan of the Pokemon Tyranitar, it's kind of what you would always, the Pokemon you'd always aspire to have, and such a hard to obtain Pokemon in the games growing up. And yeah, just such an iconic pseudo legendary Pokemon. You've got the Staraptors flying in a flock over the top. The art style is that kind of modern art style, but I think that's all right for this card, because you really kind of want the design of the Pokemon front and center, which you get here. You wouldn't be disappointed pulling this from a pack of Paldea Evolved. Let's put it that way. So yeah, moving on to number 2. So for number 2, I've actually gone with this Raichu card. This is a really, when you look at all of the illustration rares lined up, this one really stands out. I think the coloring is what makes it stand out the most. With the Pokemon sleeping, you get to just appreciate like the character design, and with the simple pastel color background, it just really is a beautiful card and enigmatic of why I think these illustration rares are loved so much. There's been many Raichu cards, and probably along with maybe the Sun and Moon, a couple of the Sun and Moon Raichu cards, I think this one is up there with the best. So now I'm going to quickly just touch on some honorable mentions. This first one on the left side is the Arctobax. Out of the 2 illustration rares we got in this line, the Baxcalibur and the Arctobax, I think this one is slightly cooler. I really love the coloring of this card. It's kind of crazy in that there are these trees in the background enclosing these little hidden spaces that have these artworks on the wall, and you're wondering like what is going on in this artwork, what is going on in the artist's head. I think that's an awesome thing to be thinking about when looking at a Pokemon card. Moving on to the SIR, there's so much to like about this Dendra card. I feel just the coloring of the card, the expression on the face, the water from the fountain. There's just something about it that I really like. And then another card that I just wanted to spotlight a little bit was this Florigato card. When I'm looking at the 2 IR cards, the Sprigatito and the Florigato and the Meowscarada, I think this one is the most stunning in terms of its composition. I love that it's kind of sitting on the tree and keeping like the subject off center, but then also the detail of this card is really beautiful. So yeah, I think that's another one that I wanted to highlight. So now moving on to number 1. I'm sure most of you have guessed it by now if you're watching. It's got to be this Magikarp card, just simply because of, how iconic is this artwork? You could just stare at it. There's the Gyarados in the top right as well. It's just got so much personality, so much character. I love the waterfall. I love the subject. Everything about the composition is just crazy and beautiful. And yeah, I've got to say that Shinji Kanda's, there's some iconic artists in the TCG, and they're quickly becoming one of those iconic artists. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one.